Sean's got tech, he's laying the lore, from circuits and chips to the cyber core. Plug in and we'll give you more. Matt's on the edge, watch those pixels fall. He cracks the code, solves it all. Dark web secrets, firewalls tall. In the cyber jungle, he's the call. Digital ascent, we're climbing high. Voices in the ether touch the sky. With tech and games and culture bright, come along with us, ignite the night. Sean's got the joystick, he's ruling the zone. Gaming world's his digital crone. From pixels to planets, he's never alone. In the realms we conquer, the seeds are sown. Jordan's gaming flair, he's got the beats. Pixel quests and high score feats. Pop culture vibes with endless repeats. In our podcast, he's on the streets. Digital ascent, we're climbing high.
Good evening, everybody. Hello. It is that time again already. I can't believe it because May is gone. I don't know how it's gone, but it's gone.
Yeah.
My
May's gone? Where'd it go?
no more. We got to wait a whole nother year for it's going to be May memes on Facebook.
Oh, no, you can use those all year long. They're evergreen.
I don't know about that. I do not know about that. We've got a little bit of music in the background playing this time around, so if you guys have any feedback on that, please let me know. Trying something new to kind of fill dead air a little bit. Not that we have a lot of dead air. We all like to talk, but I don't know. I don't know. Anytime I've streamed in the past, I like having music in the background. So, what are you guys thinking? Any thoughts? That May's
like
gone and that it's June already?
I'm a fan of the music. Time just rips on by, man. It's so busy all the time. I'm so busy. I feel like I have to try so hard to make time for anything because all my time's already booked up.
There's not enough time in the day.
No, there's really not.
I like, I've been back into 3D printing recently. And that's, it's not necessarily horribly time consuming when you've got good hardware, like good equipment, but not like it was previously. Before I had like walk into Walmart and buy a 3D printer and it's a lot of this broke. How do I fix that? Oh, now this is broken. How do I fix that? Like you're troubleshooting the hardware constantly. If you put a little bit of money into the machine, then you're able to focus on designing and all that. So like the time allotment changes from one spectrum to the other. However, I'd much rather spend it on like designing something cool and manipulating what I'm going to print and create than why is the machine not printing it the way I expect it to be printing it, sort of deal. So, but now that's opened up all the spending on filament again and all that. So
how do you solve your wife leaving you?
How do you solve your wife leaving you? Like because you invested too much,
all that money on printing.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You have to get her buy-in as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She was just as excited for this as I was. She already had like a list of stuff like queued up. Like when we get this printer, we're going to print these things. I was like, all right. I've got a really cool one printing right now. I've got like a bust of Master Chief.
Yeah.
And it's a big one. It's like a 42-hour print.
Whoa.
Like, it's grinding away in there right now. It's still it won't be done until 5 a.m.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's going to look cool though. Unfortunately, one of the, because depending on whether you have like overhangs and floating pieces, it'll print like little supports, right? They call them trees, this particular one. One of my trees fell over on the right-hand side. And so like a piece of Master Chief's armor is broken because of that. But everything else kind of picked up. So I'm like, whatever. He's battle hardened. He got shot, whatever in his armor. I'm going to patch that up a little bit probably and maybe sand that down because everything else is fine. And that's a big investment in filament for one project. Like that's legitimately Just the green color, it's a little over half a roll of filament. Like
Okay.
that's a lot of filament.
I'll
in the grand
buy.
scheme of things.
How much is a roll of filament?
I mean, that particular filament is $20.
Okay, still.
So it adds up. So, you know, when you go on like Etsy and these other shops and you're like, that thing's 3D printed. Why is it $60? You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
that's why.
well, it depends. You know, how long did it tie the machine up, electricity, and then what type of filament was used. It ebbs and flows like anything else.
Suddenly it's like, could I have bought this for cheaper?
Sometimes you do have to weigh that when it comes to like functional stuff. Like I printed a K-cup drawer, like 3-tier drawer. I was like, I could probably go to Walmart and buy this thing for like $5, but I want to print one, right? So I printed the case and then the 3 drawers and then the knobs and then the little like grid inlays on the side to make it all pretty. And yeah, just to put something together, you know.
And $50 later, you've got a K-cup drawer hole.
Wasn't that bad? I'd say all in, it's probably like $10-15, if even that. But
That's funny.
you know, it's a cool hobby.
That's funny.
It's fun. All right. We will hop into our favorite topic. What are we playing, guys? And this kind of blends into the next topic as well, so I'll let you guys go first.
Sure. Brandon, what you got?
I have been playing. I've been living out my fantasy life. In
RuneScape?
Fantasy Life I.
And what is it?
So it's called
Well-
Fantasy Life I.
I'm going to have to Google
The
that.
girl who steals time.
Okay.
And
Okay.
it is a sequel to a 3DS game that I played way back in the day.
This is rated really high. This looks goofy, but it has 92% after 6,000 players on Steam.
Yeah.
Like this, like
And
this
it has
may
92% when everybody's like, yeah, but the online sucks. Like, it's still at 92% because it freaking is awesome. It's like you have like, 11, 12 different lives, and you can choose whichever one you want at any time. And it's like carpenter or cook or mercenary or paladin, and each one of them has their own like progression system. It's really I guess you could call it a cozy game to a degree. It's got
It looks
combat
like
too. It's not
Yeah.
like it's got a lot of combat actually. But yeah, great graphics. I'm playing it on PC. It is a $60 game. And for what it is, a lot of people probably aren't going to feel like it should be.
It's not just 60.
But it's huge.
It's 70. It's the digital. There's a digital deluxe version.
Of
Okay.
course there is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a $60 game.
Yes.
But no, I love it. I've been playing a lot of it. I probably put like 50 hours into it since we talked last, since it came out.
I may add this to the local. It says the Switch version supports local co-op. Have you done the co-op at all? Have you done the online? I'm guessing not.
No,
But have you?
I don't even. The online does not have good reviews because it sort of cuts out a lot of the content of the game and has weird restrictions.
Yeah.
I don't know
okay.
about local co-op.
Well, probably the same restrictions. Oh no, maybe
I
not.
would-
What do I know?
If you're going to do it for multiplayer, I might want to wait for a couple of iterations. I'm sure they're going to try to make the multiplayer a little bit better. Because there's like weird, like it times you out. You can only do multiplayer for like 90 minutes or something like
What?
that, and then it like kicks. It's so stupid. It's like, but that's what I'm
Okay.
saying. Like it still has 92% on top of everybody being like, yeah, the multiplayer sucks.
All right. So if you have 2 controllers, this is a Switch version. You can also use the 2-player family co-op feature where one player can join the adventure as a travel companion without needing to
Oh yeah,
connect.
yeah. I remember that.
So I'm
It's
guessing.
on PC too.
Yeah. Okay. And you know, man, a lot of times when they phrase it like that, it's like you have the primary character and then the secondary character that
It is
gets
something like that.
half the things or something. I'm thinking of like Crashlands, where like you could have a local co-op, but like the secondary character is like very limited in what it can do. It's really best relegated to a child under 5. You know what I mean?
It's something like that in this case. I don't know to
I
what
hate
degree,
those.
but it
So
is definitely you're controlling like the side. There's a companion character. But I think you can still attack and do like just look it up before you pay the money. I would say
Okay.
just to make
So
sure.
I'll have to keep that in
But yeah,
mind.
love the
Always
game.
looking for good stuff.
It's about other than this. I did install SteamOS on my Ally again. I went from Windows to Steam to Windows to Steam, but the first time I did, I was using Bazite, I think is the name of it.
Yep.
Which is like a fork of it, and the keyboard wouldn't work correctly, so I eventually had to go back. But now Steam has officially released Ally support. Works great, and I do. The only thing about it is I really miss Game Pass games and being able to install those easily. But the experience of playing games via the Steam OS is so much better than Windows. Just being able to hit the power button like I do on the Switch.
Yep.
And
Rock
then
and roll.
turn it back on. Oh,
It's like my favorite Steam Deck
wonderful.
feature.
It's a big
Man.
one.
so
It's huge.
so now I got that feature again. And I'll probably keep it this time. The keyboard works. That's the only reason I didn't use it last time. Yeah, that's what I've been playing. Who's next?
Matt, you go.
I'll go. Wait, did you tell me to go ahead? Did you say you go ahead? I didn't.
Yep,
All
I
right,
said
cool.
go ahead.
While you're talking, Matt, I'm gonna go ahead and play some more Fantasy Life.
Yeah, go for it. I think that's fine. I didn't want the engagement or anything. So with the wifey, I've been playing Rogue Hero Ruins of Talos, and it's kind of like roguelite with an overworld. It reminds me a lot of the Cat Quest games, I guess, from that aspect. But you only get 3 dungeons, so it's kind of like if you merged like Cat Quest and then you merged in some Children of Morta, and it's got a pretty unique class system where you basically in each of the classes, Cat Quest was good. Each of the classes gets like an adjuster on your speed, your damage resistance, stuff like that. There's not like a ton there, and then it gets some extra boosts. You know what I mean? The witch class can ride a broom and has a good potion, stuff like that. And so it's pretty cool. At $20, it's a steal, in my opinion. It's got some rough edges. And hey, mannequins, what up? It's got some rough edges on there for sure. There's definitely some times where it's like, okay, well, you know, we can't complete the dungeon because we don't have whatever we need to complete the dungeon, and there's no back way. Like, there's no way to get back. So I guess we'll just die and kill ourselves and like abandon the run. And there was once where like we were working a puzzle and I died because I got hit by a trap or whatever. And the wife was stuck because of like where we were in the puzzle. And so she just had to kill herself because she had no, like, she literally couldn't move a single square. So, but you know, at $20, you know, I see it's got 7 out of 10s on Steam. I feel like it's got tons of content there. So, you know, I recommend that. Still working Clair Obscure and just slow progress. And then I'm proud to announce I finished the Wheel of Time series, or the Wheel, like the book. I finished the books. Yes, thank you. I will take some class for that. I did it with New Spring, the prequel, in there. And so, you know, I consumed the 14.5 or something like that.
You know who didn't finish the Wheel of Time series?
You? Did you
Amazon.
know? Yeah, right.
Did they cancel it?
Yeah.
I
mean,
only watched like a couple episodes and I was like, this is not, I'm not somebody who needs a movie or show to follow the book exactly. I'm not usually that person.
I'm not either, no.
But they went in such different directions.
They had a lot of hot takes. You know, man, the copium that I repeatedly smoked was that the book would never translate to a TV show. No one wants to watch Rand walk his ass to Tar Valon. Like that first walk is a slog. Like there's a lot of time
I mean,
where they're
every book is a slog. It
Yeah.
really is as good as they can be. They're great books, some of them.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
they're
you
all
got to be
slogs.
really so. Like my thoughts on the Wheel of Time, you know, is that if you like, it's not all exciting, but if you allow each layer to properly build itself, it gives like the more exciting parts more meaning. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I just listened to, I'm hunting for new books now. So like I think I'm gonna do the Elderlings realm, the Realm of the Elderlings series by Robin Hobb, which is a 16 book series, and split up into some like little trilogies in a quartet. And but the way I feel about Wheel of Time is that it's got slow parts, but it's good. The final battle is good. And you know, there's a lot of poignancy in losing some of the characters you lose at the end, because I mean, like they've like some of the characters have been with you for 14,000 pages, you know, and like I don't know, like the second time through where I understood the characters much better. The first time through, I felt like I was barely hanging on, and the second time through, I really felt like I understood the characters better, and it was, you know, a gripping read there at the end, with a good ending. I'm happy I really understood the ending this time. Last time I felt like I only kind of understood the ending, because it's not like Sanderson doesn't spell it out for you. You know, you've got to put a few things together yourself. And this time I got it. And I don't know, just good. Thank you, Robert Jordan. Thank you, Brandon Sanderson. Good books.
I've read that last book 3 or 4 times. I don't know, so I get it.
Yeah, it's good. That last book is good, man. That chapter of the last battle has got to be like 150 pages or something, and of like straight combat and tactics. It's great. It's awesome.
And Brent's like, okay, now that I'm totally bored.
Yeah. Sorry, man.
I don't know. I'm sure I'd probably would like it, but I don't know that I'd ever make time for it.
No, I don't recommend it for you. You're not enough of a completionist. You'll never make it past book 3. I'm not kidding you. I mean that in like the most loving, respectful way possible. But you leave a lot of unfinished games in your wake that you promise that you're going to go back to. And like it just like it doesn't happen, and like this book series is not for you. I wouldn't. I
will say this: I do too, as far as video games. I don't with books. Like
Okay,
I'm
that's fair.
reading the series. Brent, I don't know how you like reading, but I'm reading the series, The Wandering Yin. It has like 16 books so far, and I'm listening to them, and each one of them is like 40 to 50 hours long.
Oh my god, man!
So
that's crazy.
That's
a lot.
That's a lot of content.
Yep.
I will say, last thing is that I'm also listening to the Magic 2.0 series by Scott Meyer. I've consumed I think I'm on the 4th book now. And for people who haven't read it, it's kind of like high fantasy and sci-fi mix a little bit. And it's an entertaining one. It's good for tech geeks, I feel like. Brent, what you doing, man? What you got? You reading? You playing video games?
I haven't been reading recently. I think the last thing I read was the last Fourth Wing book, Onyx Storm. Was the last thing I read. I usually, when it comes to stuff like that, it's stuff that my wife's also into. So I try to read in tandem as much as possible and keep up with her. I've still got to work through Clair Obscure. A Pokemon MMO. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Poke MMO, but that's interesting. It essentially takes like the old ROMs from 4 or 5 of the old games and interlaces them into an MMO. It's actually quite incredible. And it's been around for like 10 years and I've never heard of it. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, same reaction. Yep. Yep. Myself and another individual you guys both know, he's hugely into Pokemon, and he found that and he's like, how in the hell did I not know about this?
Is this a real thing?
PokeMMO.com.
I mean,
That's
no,
where
like
you're
I'm
at.
there. No, like I'm there. I don't understand how Nintendo hasn't ripped them down.
I don't know either, but they've found some way to do it, man. They've existed this long, so until Nintendo watches our podcast, and then they're gonna take them down. So sorry, guys.
Hold on. So do you play the Pokemon game?
You play the Pokemon game. You just have
Okay.
other people coexisting. You can trade with them. You can do PvP with them. You can. Yeah, I mean, it's really, really, really cleverly done. It's using all the assets for those ROMs, primarily Pokemon Black and White, because the other ones are optional. But you load them all up in there, you point the game to it, and it joins all these things together, and you've got people running around in the same world. You can trade with them. You can do all sorts of stuff.
Oh, so you are providing the ROMs.
Mhm.
That's probably how they've gotten away with it to some degree, in some way.
Well, they're still making money
'Cause-
off their IP, though, because there's a whole shop, and there's memberships, and
Yeah, but
Oh, all the
that's-
MMO systems I love so much. I don't see any of that here. All I see is free to play, lots of content.
the
It's
thing
all
about it is
quality
though
life.
that
Yeah.
they, like, if they were to go go after everybody that just makes money, like all these like t-shirt people who like make t-shirts and
Oh,
do
yeah.
these things,
Yeah.
and so there's a line there where, yeah, I can see the line, I guess is what I'm saying, of why Nintendo wouldn't necessarily
it's
go after
I think
them
it's a thin
specific-
one in this case. It's not as
I
it's
can't
not as
imagine, like-
defined as like a t-shirt, I don't think. But
yeah,
um,
I'm still like flabbergasted that it's up, but
Mhm.
yeah, I mean they've got built. You
Um,
can I've got it installed on my Steam Deck. It was super easy to install on that and get it linked to the Steam OS and all that good stuff and get it. I mean it's pretty great. Like I honestly I think it works even better on the mobile formats. Technically you get it on iPhone too, but you have to have a way to sideload it. It works natively on Android. It works on the Steam Deck. It's Windows, everything else
Wow.
you'd expect. So it's kind of cool. That's been my kind of like laying in bed, just kind of doing something mindless game. Moving into topic 2, I also bought Nightreign, Elden Ring Nightreign,
Mhm.
and been getting my ass handed to me in that. But I have enjoyed it because it's everything I expected it would be for the most part. Like I don't know. I feel like some of the negative reception with it. I'm not defending it by any means because this is very firmly, just like Elden Ring was. This is very firmly like, if it's not your cup of tea,
It's just
It's not your cup of
not what
tea.
you're looking for.
right?
Yeah, that's what it
And-
looks like to me.
And
too.
and I think people are very, very confused, and I don't know how, because this was not. They didn't misadvertise this at all. It's kind of got like almost like a BR feel to it. It's roguelite. I think people are like, you can't build your character and level up your skills. No, because that's not how it works. Like you play like almost like a hero character, right? You run in, you level up quickly. It's a very, 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 I think if I had one criticism, but this is just par for the course, ultimately. It's a fast game. Like there is no time to waste. You cannot waste time. Like if you're standing around looking at the map thinking about what to do next,
You're done for?
you're wasting time. Like you could be leveling, you could be going and getting like stones to level up your weapon, because the fact of the matter is that's where that BR element comes in, and this ring of fire is constantly closing in, and it has multiple phases, just like it does in Fortnite or any other BR. And once it closes into the final circle, the Night Lords come out, and you got to fight a Night Lord, or you got to fight bosses on days 1 and days 2, or day 1 and day 2, and then day 3, a Night Lord comes out, and that's the big boy. And if you finish him or die by him, that's the run, right? Like,
Mhm,
so anyways, it's a cool mechanic. It's a cool gameplay loop. I really do think though that some of the negative reviews, because I know you had you pulled it up. What was it? 70%?
70%, which is still mostly positive, but brother, I think it's like just over the edge.
Yeah, I think I really do. I would say if I had to guess, I would say like at least 10% of those folks are like pissy because they didn't quite understand what they were buying.
Everything that everybody who's mad seems to be mad about the fact that it's centered around 3 playable characters all acting together at once. People were mad about the lack of duos and solo. They're mad. I guess people were also mad about lack of voice chat and lack of crossplay. And I get some of that. But at the same time, I think Elden Ring is a $40 game. And at $40, you're operating in a different price range. You know what I mean? I'm double checking that. Yeah, it's $39.99. So, you know, that means a couple years ago, this would have been a $25 or $30 game. And there's just like, brother, it's half the price of Elden Ring. It's just a different game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like at $40, I feel like at $40, you basically have to go, okay, this isn't a AAA game, and I shouldn't expect AAA game features. And
man, we've had a lot of fun with it. You know, they came out and said duos is they just overlooked that. I don't know how they overlooked it, but they just overlooked that. There's ways to kind of cheese it, but obviously the game is very much so. If you're not in solo mode, because that does other things to the game, that down tunes everything. And they just patched it again like yesterday and made solo mode easier in a lot of ways. And I think they added in 1 revive per boss for solo mode. But it's very much so tuned for 3 people. I mean, from the core up. So you gotta like, you either gotta matchmake with another person, which I will say that me and Chris, when we literally match made at one point, got a random, and that was the first time that we actually beat the first boss. So that was like our initial best run. So I mean, a lot of people are like, oh, if you match make, you're gonna get matched up to a noob. We had good luck. So anyways, I've enjoyed it. It's one of those games where you got to kind of enjoy the pain. You got to enjoy it. Like you have to, each run, you have to fully come to terms with, how did I screw up? Was it RNG? I just simply didn't get the loot I was looking for and I had a bad build. Or did I royally screw up? And 9 times out of 10, it's the latter. I got caught in the ring and I took too much damage and I had to burn up all my flasks to heal up, and I couldn't replenish my flask before the boss, and that's the reason I died. Or I missed this dodge and I mistimed the boss, because all the combat is Elden Ring for sure.
Yeah, it's get good combat.
Yeah, it's get good combat, and all it takes is one person to kind of screw the pooch a lot, and everybody's gonna feel it. Because of the res people, you got to go like attack them, and every time they go down, it takes more attacks to bring them back up. And so like if a boss is whooping your ass over here on the side and you're trying to dodge him, but you're also trying to lock target onto your ally to bring him back up, you're in a really bad situation, right?
Yeah.
So but like I said, ultimately, like I feel like if you are a true Elden Ring fan and you got buddies, you like that multiplayer component to it, I think it scratches the same itch, in my opinion. So I would give it a positive review. Would I give it like 9 out of 10 necessarily? Probably not. I think which they're working on. They actually made a couple of my pet peeves better recently. There's like a jumping and mantling system that was just painful. Like you're trying to climb up a wall, you're running from the ring of fire, and like he's just not mantling. I'm like falling more than I'm climbing. That was just pissing me off. They fixed that with this patch that we downloaded today. I just played around earlier. Now you can climb properly.
Nice.
So they are working on it. They are listening to feedback. They say that apparently they're working on a duo mode and they're going to properly tune that. I think a lot of those big qualms that people have with it, they are interested in fixing. And they got DLC coming later this year, so I'm curious to see what that is. But there's 8 playable characters. They're all vastly different in a lot of ways. You got hero like character abilities, 2 character abilities, an ult and a character ability per character, and it's just really neat. I don't know.
You gonna
like to
buy it,
remind
Brandon?
us all. Oh God, no. I do. I am not a From Software player. I have watched videos on every FromSoft game. I've done watched analysis videos about the lore, and there's all kinds of wonderful stuff. I hate playing them. Absolutely. I've tried it for like 10 minutes. I was like, this is not my forte. If I ever get a chance to buy Elden Ring really, really, really cheap, I probably will, just because I want to try it, because the open worldness and kind of like the ability to do things differently. I still expect to not like it, and that's why it would have to be. There is no get good when you cannot get good.
Yeah.
You know the itch that it scratches though? It scratches a little bit of that nostalgic itch of there's real risk and reward, which developers have just essentially said, for lack of a better word, fuck it at this point in time, because they want to sell to the masses now. They don't want to sell to this niche kind of demographic, and that's what Elden Ring appeals to, is that niche.
EA.
Right. I mean, well, yeah, but I mean, all of them, right? Like World of Warcraft is a great example. Brandon, you picked that back up recently. Retail is that. It holds your hand, if not completes the game for you in a lot of ways, when you play retail. And there's a reason why Blizzard was like, oh, maybe we should boot up the old assets in the old game, because people really enjoy the risk and reward of it. Maybe we should make a hardcore server. People like knowing that if I die, my character's gone for good, and I'm going to play another character and do it all over again. You know what I mean? Like there's a whole niche of gamers at this point that prefer that sort of loop. And so Elden Ring kind of appeals to that same demographic of you really take a step back and you assess the situation before you go running in like a maniac, and you understand the mechanics of the game more, the mechanics of your build more. I don't know. I mean, I kind of, in comparison to something like, I don't know, what's just a hack and slash where you can essentially just button smash.
Bayonetta?
Get
Diablo.
Yeah, the newer Diablo, but you get my point of like, where you really, you're not forced to learn the mechanics. There's no real reward in even learning the mechanics, because you can just smash A the entire time and do the same thing. Why would you take, all the time to do this real fancy build and learn all the mechanics when you can just slice everything to pieces? I don't know. I enjoy both, but I think that's maybe where the speed of Nightreign really keeps you on your feet and keeps your heartbeat pumping, because it's like, I can't sit here and think about it. I just got to loot real quick. Hopefully I made a good choice. Run on to the next thing because I'm out of time. Anyways. All right. Talking about hacking and slashing, maybe not slashing so much, but what about this topic here? Robot Kung Fu, AI throws hands.
Guys, sometimes I love this world. And martial arts competition by robots. It's my jam.
Kind of bittersweet, right? Like, that's pretty cool. The video. Can you show the video, Brent, at all? Is that possible?
I think, well, you can show the video. Why don't you do a screen share? Screen share your browser in the Video Ninja, because I'm already sharing for the music. And I just spilled coffee all over myself, so hopefully nobody clips that ever.
Okay, give me a second.
Are you screen sharing or clipping by me spilling coffee?
Both.
Sorry, guys. I completely got distracted watching the video. What are we doing?
We're
trying to show the video.
Yeah, I'm getting permissioned though by Edge, and I'm not sure if this is what it is. I think I'm gonna allow it to occur. Give me a second.
It probably is that, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. Now I got a password. What is this trash?
Like, it's asking you for permission and then asking for a password.
Yeah, I don't know about the password part, but
No, because it's because I'm changing settings in here.
oh, you're on your Mac. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on my Mac.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It
now.
seems to care more about what I've got going on. I don't think it's going to capture my audio, but I have to restart Edge to capture audio. So whatever. We're just going to run some of these clips here.
胳膊的一个重量，
No, I hear
像刚才那个腿部的非常大的一个大幅的一个
Very
腿部，
loud.
还有需要
It doesn't. I'm just going to turn it off. So I'm just going to throw some random highlights at you right here. So
Oh,
you
this is a good one. This is what made me laugh.
All right, so this is not all AI. This is AI. This is like machine human collaboration. I assume what that means is that you pre-configure things, like you basically make yourself a controller, and then
Yeah, I saw something with the. I saw somebody with the look like a remote control.
yeah. And let's see. There we
I was
go.
gonna say, what happens when the ref gets his ass beat when he's trying
All
to
right,
break him
so
up?
there's a couple spots where I see the ref get in there and like break them up, and I instantly was like, bro, I don't want to do that. So okay, so these things are, let's see, stop sharing. All right, cool. All right, that's fun. That's pretty fun. It's a little scary, right? Because you know things to come, right? Like this is just the first generation of robot combat sports. Well, I guess not. That other show
Yeah,
was
Robot Wars or whatever
Battle
it was.
Bots,
Battle Bots.
and then I do think there was maybe like a Robot Wars afterwards, but whatever. So this is the first generation of humanoid machine combat sports. Sorry, it's weird to say all those words together. So these robots are the Unitree G1s. You can buy them for $16,000 today if you want one. There is a G1 Boxing Iron Fist King. I don't think I want the fist to be iron, honestly, because of like the rust problem. I would really prefer a stainless steel fist or something like that. That's going to be a little bit more resistant, but whatever. Like they actually do have, like they say they have this boxing version of it. You know, man, the G1 actually looks interesting. Like it says it can do things like make eggs, you know,
I'm watching this now. Yeah,
like
on
or
the main
scramble
site.
the egg, like I like flip toast and stuff. Like it, like we really are starting to see like the first generation of bots that can like do stuff around the house and help. I'm not saying that's, you know, worth $16,000.
This would be great. It'd be worth $16,000 for like a home invasion. I'm gonna open the door and be like, "Oh no, don't rob me!" And then the robot's gonna come around the corner and just whoop ass. Instantly.
Iron Fist King.
just walk out the door and just throw the son of a gun off the porch.
You know, I was gonna make a joke about pushing it over, but like some of the videos I've seen are like you could try to kick them over and they don't really fall. They just recenter themselves. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
Dude, it's just like the what's the company with the dog?
Boston Dynamics.
Boston Dynamics. Yeah. So they
Oh man, they're getting fancy with their stuff now.
they're getting real fancy, but it's the same thing, man. They kick that dog so much, and then now like it will not go down. Like it's programmed and trained with so much balanced algorithms, and I'm sure AI now on top of it. Apparently, they are using some iteration of that thing too for the mechanical or automated Stitch in Universal Studios. Or in,
Really?
yeah.
Oh, from Lilo and Stitch. Yeah, sorry, it took me a second.
So that's interesting as well, or Disney,
pretty
wherever the heck
crazy.
it's at. But yeah,
So they're training the AI dog by kicking it.
the original Boston Dynamics one, yeah, that's how they were that's how they were training it.
I have no sympathy when they get killed. I just don't. Not if that's what I mean.
If you watch the early videos, man, it's just almost sad looking watching the little robotic dog just get his ass whooped constantly. But then like it shows like a year later, and then the dog just like flops over and then gets right back up like instantly. And it just iterations, man. This is all pre-AI too, or at least consumer grade AI where it's at.
Yeah, I mean it's really impressive, man. And like I said, it's a little scary. Really makes you wonder like what happens, you know, next. Like what does this look like in 10 years? You know what I
In the
mean?
grand scheme of things too, I mean, I know $16,000 is a lot of money, but then again, it's really not.
No, not for what it is.
Right. So,
Like,
I mean,
okay, so let's say that you want this thing to do simple tasks like take burgers and then flip them and then pull them off the grill, right? $16,000 is like basically 1 year minimum wage. You've got to hire a very expensive engineer to keep it employed, like, and keep it work. Like, you got to employ engineers to keep the bot, you know, doing what it's supposed to be doing. So you need those experts. But like, I honestly, these things look like the death of a lot of things that we consider to be entry level, like, jobs, like service industry level jobs. Why can't that bot serve my plates at a restaurant?
yeah.
Take this plate to table 11. Okay.
I mean, that's already a thing, though. I just went to a bowling alley not all that long ago, and they had the robot bring it out.
Shut up.
Yes.
You're lying.
No, the little. It almost looks like almost like the maid from Jetsons.
Shut the F up. What bowling alley? Don't text me the bowling.
I was gonna say I'm not gonna dox us here, but yeah, no.
Text me the bowling alley. I don't believe it.
Yeah, because we heard like your order is here, and I'm like, who the hell is that?
Rosie, what are you doing?
And we turn around, and there's my chicken strips. I'm like, oh, okay.
Here's a chicken strips, Mr. Jackson.
Yeah, I mean, really. It's and we had there was another local restaurant that tested one for a while. I guess these companies that made them came out to a bunch of restaurants and were like, hey, look, you guys can pilot this thing for dirt cheap for a year, 6 months, whatever, right?
Wow.
And because we need the feedback, we need that information. How does it work? You know, in the real world, we've done everything we can do and
we need to
beta testing, but we need to have it out in the wild, and that's where you saw it. I'm honestly surprised that when you go out and about, you have not at least seen it once.
Yeah,
where we live.
I guess I'm just not going to the right restaurants.
That's the rub. Who goes out?
Yeah, I don't do a lot of that, to be honest. I think that might be part of it.
Oh God.
No, I go out a lot to the Taqueria, a couple lights down. That's like my most common stop.
A Brazilian steakhouse for the first time.
Ooh.
I never had one.
You know what? Those are now on the gross thing for me. But yeah, please continue.
No, I can totally agree and imagine. I was the first one in the building.
There you go.
And so, like, I can imagine if I was in the middle of the day, I couldn't do it. Like, just from a germophobic standpoint.
Not anymore.
But, like, being the first, like, nobody else had been there.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
point.
like, I didn't have to, like, I get you. And I totally would also agree. But from the standpoint of experiences, I'm glad I did it. I don't know that I would do it often, wherever. I don't know. Really liked it. Sorry. Not robots.
All right.
Not robots. I will say I had an encounter with an automated ordering attendant at a fast food restaurant, and it was my first one, and it was bad. It was a really negative. Like, it got my order right, but it tried to upsell me like 7 times, and it even tried to upsell me after I told it to, quote, shut the fuck up and stop fucking upselling me. The person who handed me my order was like, why are you being mean to the AI? And I was like, bro, you obviously can see you can see me going, I'm done. No more upsell. Like, I'm done. Like, after what do you want me to do? It wouldn't stop.
Oh my God.
It was like a door-to-door salesman
standing there in the middle of the restaurant, just raging at the machines.
No, it was from the comfort of my car. But yes, one day
he throws it in reverse and then drives over it and goes straight to the window.
Yeah, man, it felt so much like I was on a phone tree. And you guys know how much I love phone tree. Yes, what it felt like. It was like a phone tree. So, you know, in case
I immediately get triggered if I'm in a phone tree.
It sends me from okay to rage. I don't know why. Oh, great. Time to waste a bunch of my fucking time. All right. This is crazy. I mean, man, guys, we're really starting to see, you know, I was gonna say like the beginning of the end is what it feels like in a lot of ways. You know, America has a pretty strong service economy, and taking away a bunch of those jobs is gonna be painful long term.
I agree.
Yeah. We're gonna have to make some choices as a society about that.
I will say, aside from the idea of regulations and kind of like, you know, the government possibly stepping in to like buffer some of that in some way,
Yeah, right.
I can imagine that. So there's the low end, like companies that are like, they're going to try to save every dime they can.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to try to make every dime they can. And that works for a period of time, but eventually you start. I think Zappos, that's a shoe company.
Mm-hmm.
And there's other companies like that. They're like, we're going to give you better than the cheapest. And it slides in one direction where it's like, I'm going to give you the cheapest possible. And then people start being like, I'd rather be able to talk to somebody and not rage against the machine when I order my food. Like, that has historically, I'm not saying it will, but historically that's always been the case whenever automation or like efficiencies come in and like really start to, there's a shift. I mean, humanity survives. You know, we adapt, we change. It doesn't mean that there won't be people that are hurt by something like that. In any shift in industry and economy, there's people who aren't able to shift for various reasons. And so I don't want to minimize that impact, but from a societal standpoint, I don't worry too much because there's other things I worry about with society. I'm talking about specifically with like service industry and robots helping.
Yeah.
But from that standpoint, I think that it would just shift. In other words,
It makes me curious what like Matt, your situation, going back to that, the AI order taking and all that, like what are they using? Because I know conversationally with like ChatGPT on my phone, it is phenomenal these days.
It's pretty damn good.
How organic sounding it is. I mean, I say she because I've got the female voice set on it. So she'll laugh at stuff. She'll scoff at stuff. Like, I think I was joking it at one point saying, hey, ChatGPT, do you think my wife would like Elden Ring Nightreign? And I was like, she says she doesn't want to play it, blah, 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 blah. And it laughed at it and was like, well, it might not be for her, but, blah, 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 blah. And it, went into this other thing. And I was like, this is more and more convincing than we've ever been with conversational automation.
Oh, yeah. Turing test is no longer a valid, test.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Turing test is completely annihilated, you can find something to beat the Turing test on any corner. You can run it locally. I mean, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
Because I used to be the godfather of AI tests when I was learning about this type of stuff in college and stuff. The Turing test was it, and there was cool, man, could it beat the Turing test? And now it's shit, man. ChatGPT, it's wild.
I agree.
And all the other ones, there's at this point, Gemini, Meta's little AI, Grok, they're all really impressive.
Yeah.
And Brent, to answer your question, about what he was using, I'm absolutely sure it was the cheapest possible AI. That's what
Probably.
These companies that want the cheapest, it doesn't ever work long term.
Yeah.
Not well. That's not true. But
not well. Yeah.
I'm gonna take us since we don't have enough time to. I'm not sure we have enough time, but I do want to mention something that I thought was very interesting. And I'd like y'all's opinion. The amount of AI slop that is starting to press storage prices up, because anybody can create videos and it's slop. It's not like, and storage prices are starting to feel that. Companies are starting to like say, hey, this is going to raise storage prices. And I'm a little bit concerned, and by a little bit I mean a lot of bit, that once we get 2-3 years into the future where it's even more and more, yeah, a lot of AI slop in the world.
I hadn't considered that the storage prices were going up, but I can see that as an outcome because you can just generate freaking content.
Yep.
Just tons of it. Even now, I'm like thinking about it. A lot of times I'll be like, give me a photo of like whatever. I go, draw me this, ChatGPT. All right, give me some iterations in these styles. Okay, now generate 20. Right?
Yep.
Like I don't need 20 iterations. I just wanted to create 20 and see what it does. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All right, double that again. I think
you're going to see, I think you will see a lot more solutions that are transitory. Start developing where it's not, you're going to pay this much. And I know that's already the case to some degree where, if you pay the, Chat GPT Pro or whatever it's called, you have history and persistence and stuff like that. But I think that's going to be more like, it's going to have to, like, there's only so much storage we can put out into the world. I think so many zettabytes of data storage that we're producing a year, and it's not going to be enough.
Same thing as power. Seriously.
Yeah.
Right. It's crazy.
And yeah. Okay, guys. We got one more, right?
Yep. Do we want to rapid fire some of this off, and then we'll choose? I'm sure we will expand on some of these further as whole episodes here, but this is like framework. So you want to start a security program.
Yeah. So, okay. So the reason why I wanted to have this conversation is that I recently had time to catch up with an acquaintance of mine and talk about what they have going on. And I've got some wild stories that this person has told me about their configuration that we don't have time for. But they were good making some, like, they had some pretty hot takes on their next steps. And one of them specifically being that they were buying, instead of going to cloud, they were buying new servers, and instead of making sure they had their backups configured correctly, they wanted to create these hot spares. And this is coming out of a ransom attack within the last year where I'm sorry, I misspoke there. This is coming out of an update incident within the last year where they tried to patch something and it took down a critical system, and there was no fallback. They went to go, they had a junior engineer doing the work. Junior engineer didn't grab a snapshot, didn't check backups. They went to senior engineer, I need a backup. Senior engineer said, well, we overwrote the only backup we have with the capture of the updated machine that we made this morning after you already nuked it. So, back to engineering land. We got to get back in here. Yeah. I mean, like, really bad stuff. So, he's telling me that story, and then he's going, okay, we should invest engineering hours in like creating this hot spare situation, right? And I'm going, man, but that's like senior engineer work. Shouldn't your senior engineer be making sure that your fucking backups are working and that you have more than like the last 6 hours of backups available to you? That just seems like a better use of time and energy. I was like, you know what you should use those machines for? You should use those machines for trying to restore backups on as practice and seeing how long it takes to stand up a new environment.
Yeah.
So, okay. First thing I'm going to recommend here is, take backups and test your backups. Grab them from last month, grab them from 6 months ago. If you're thinking I want to start a security program, backups are critical. Backups undo oopsies. Backups undo real threats like ransomware. Backups are how you keep your job in the face of like a severe fuck up. I'm not joking. backups save your shit. So, your goal as a security or, system administrator is to keep your business alive in any way, shape, or form, right? Like there's a lot of ways that like can mean backups keep your business alive in the face of adversity. Either of you guys want to contribute on that at all?
I'll just say, totally agree. And that if no matter how good your security program, your security tools, whatever, at the end of the day, they could all fail, and they could all be, in worst case scenario, you have to be able to recover. And if you don't have backups, there's no recovery.
Yeah. So I would say, probably number one most important thing is, ensure that you can recover. Get yourself some backups. Make sure that they can't be easily accessed. Make sure that they aren't domain joined. Make sure that they're right once, read many. Make sure that are, or immutable. Get some backups. Backups get you out of hot water.
Yeah, there's so many good solutions for it too.
A lot of good solutions. Just go ahead and grab one.
I will say, like, backups aren't just security. I know we're talking about security.
Yeah, they're not just security.
And, backups are about disaster recovery, whatever that means. But at the end of the day, a lot of security concerns are trying to stop the worst case, and they don't always work.
Yep.
No matter how good your security is, all it takes is one person to click the link at the wrong time in the wrong place, and then it's gone. So having a backup that, like you said, is immutable, that can't be touched by your normal systems, is a security feature on top of just being disaster recovery.
Yeah.
Yep. I'm going to say, piggybacking on top of that, next thing I want to talk about is user training. Look, it's really important to ensure that your users get, some anti-phishing training. In fact, let me take that back. I think the most important thing that you can train a user is to report issues. Your users are going to see issues. Your users are going to see issues before you see issues. Like a lot of times I've received multiple ransomware calls, throughout my career, people being like, hey, I see something weird going on. And you're going like, oh, well, that's the bad kind of weird. So thank you for telling me so I can do something about that. Right. So train your users to report issues, train them how you want them to report. Critical issues need to be phone calls, things like that. That's a conversation I've had a lot over the years. The next thing is, give them some anti-phishing training. I recently attended a threat briefing, and lo and behold, guess what? Phishing, number one threat, credential stuffing, number two threat, misconfiguration, number three threat, right? So get your users some training, help them understand what a phishing email looks like and how to identify the signs. It takes a long time. It's very challenging to do. It's not something that comes naturally to a lot of people, and it can be hard, but get your users a little bit of training and help them
take it seriously.
Help them take it seriously.
You can't just sign up for Noble4 or CrowdStrike and do the default and throw in a group of everybody and call it a day. You aren't training your users and giving them the tools to not fall victim to phishing. And make sure you're doing training on more than just email. Text messages are like huge. I mean, I've gotten text messages.
I see a lot of them
already.
I see a lot of them. I get a lot of reports of people going, CEO texts me asking for Victoria's Secret gift cards. Is this legitimate? Well, no, this is not legitimate. Go ahead and block that number. Thank you.
Phone calls, in-person social engineering. I mean, there's so many ways that people are getting to your users, and you have to take the training seriously. So yeah, I would put that right towards the top of what you need to do.
It's right towards the top. And then the last really, really big one, I think that is, I don't know, man, they're all so big. I homed over this list. I'm not going to say that. I guess another big one is something I'll file as generically conditional access. Conditional access is a feature in Azure, but I'm not talking about that. Conditional access in this case means you shouldn't just have access to something without something else. And there should be conditions to your access, as in you should have, something more than a username and password to access things. You should have a username and password and a multi-factor authentication method, like an SMS text. You should have, I recommend if you're allowing people to log into anything that's web-based from non-US IP addresses, put a stop to that. You'll stop a lot of low-effort attacks. You know, or whatever country you're from or countries you do business with, right? I'll say if you can go a step further and say I only will allow devices I know and have registered with me previously to connect, that's even better. Some of these things are really hard to achieve. I've heard over my time, a lot of pushback for, the multi-factor stuff. And, the users don't like it. You can cheat a little bit by wherever your main campus is by allowing people to log in without multi-factor from that IP address. But, I don't really recommend that personally. If you're having trouble getting buy-in for rolling out multi-factor, one, you can just start showing people some stats about how people get in. It's phishing and credential stuffing, which multi-factor defeats in a lot, not all cases. And you can go talk to your cyber insurance, because guess what? There's a clause in there somewhere that says that you need multi-factor if you want to be able to log in, or if you want to be able to recover.
If you're not doing a lot of the things we're talking about, and you think you have cyber insurance, you do not have cyber insurance.
Yeah, you don't have
if you get,
they're not going to pay you.
Whatever the word. Yeah, they're not going to pay you anything.
They're not going to
look at your
pay you,
systems and be like, you lied to us.
Yeah, they're not going to pay you. Cyber insurance requires multi-factor. They want backups, all that stuff. They want user training. I know we require contractually that you train your users for in cybersecurity. If you don't, then that's something that we're gonna notate in our forums, and maybe we won't do business with you. Brent, you got any thoughts, man? You've been kind of quiet on all these things.
I'm letting you guys breeze through them, but I mean, I agree. Yeah, with the conditional access, I don't think I have anything to add there.
Something more than a password, please.
Yeah.
If I can log in with a password from Iran, that's a problem. And that's just the gist of it. Let's see. Next one I have here is least privilege access. When you're designing systems, you should be thinking, well, what is the least amount of what is the least amount of privileges or permissions that I need to get my work done? As part of this, I have two major recommendations. There's a million things I could go into here, but the two biggest ones are one is that users shouldn't need to be local administrators. If users need to be local administrators, something is wrong. And users, if a user is a local administrator, then they can execute ransomware. That's the way to think about it. And they can encrypt their entire machine. This person that I was talking, these are real things. I was talking to this person. This person I was talking to said that all users are added to the workstation's local administrator group. And he was like, he's a junior, he's really early in his career. But he was like, it was really weird. This user could whack $C to any other machine in the network and see their entire C drive. And I was like, brother,
my God.
I was like, brother, they're a local administrator. They're in the local administrator group for all machines on the entire network. I was like, they can right click, take ownership of other people's user folders on other machines. What did you think was going to happen? Think through what you permissioned there. And yeah, it's crazy. You didn't think that's a real story, assuming this guy wasn't lying to me. And I don't think he was, because I haven't seen him in a year, and he came back with real similar descriptions of what was going on and built upon things. And then the other thing I'll add here is that admins should have two accounts. They should at least two accounts, one for adminning and one for local user stuff. My admin account should only come out when I'm doing admin things. And other than that, I should be using my local user account at anything possible. And, it's just about minimizing blast radius. That's what all these things are. And there's other headaches. I promise you that there are headaches associated with being able to whack, connect to another computer via a UNC path, and then edit somebody else's files. So, yeah.
No.
So,
that sounds really awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a real story. These things are still happening in 2025.
There's some clever like Microsoft does PIM as well, the privilege identity management.
Oh my God, I love
Yeah.
PIM. That's
And
a real
that-
blast
that-
radius minimizer.
Yeah, that definitely helps if you want to go kind of a different approach and still have the same accounts, but you want a elevation method that is highly audited.
No, you should still separate that shit, brother. I'm sorry.
A lot of people do. The problem is that, well, there's other intricacies there. I'm not going to get into it here, but depending on third-party providers of MFA and stuff like that, there's a lot of other things depending on systems.
Yeah,
but I do agree.
Situationally, it allows you to have options if you need to be able
to separate,
do something.
Yeah, I'd say
so I can see
too.
that too.
I know the like SaaS products make least privilege access kind of hard sometimes too. Unfortunately,
They can. Yeah, they can.
You know, it's one of those
just
things
depends
of
on how
like,
good they've built themselves.
oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
one of the ones that stand out to me for many years has been ConnectWise and their products of here's this massive table of stuff and you have absolutely no clue which specific privilege this user needs to do this specific thing. And there's this whole matrix and like it gets really down in the weeds. So what happens to these businesses that don't have time to
Global
investigate that?
admin.
Full admin. Boom.
Full
done.
admin. Full admin.
And so,
Yeah.
hey devs, please make that easier for people to
I mean, man, like,
secure their systems.
it's hard, but I mean, and it requires least privilege access is a hard one because it requires time and effort to
Yeah.
really like hone it in the weeds. So, here you're starting your security program. Don't worry about 90% of that stuff that we just said. You need to worry about two things. One, users shouldn't be local admins. Two, your admins should have separate admin accounts. I mean, like, man, just start there and then, start pairing away where you can. All right, next one. You got something
local
else?
admin. Well, I was just going to mention, because we were talking about people starting out. That is hard.
It's hard.
That's a battle just like MFA is.
Yep.
And there's a lot of organizational stuff sometimes that still should do it, but it's not as easy as I'm gonna go, because as soon as you roll that out, if you do that without telling somebody, you're gonna get fired.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
So don't do that.
Yeah, I would say with the local admin one, you definitely have to think about, do you have any bandwidth in your service desk to accept new installations? And you're going to need good remote management software so you can connect in, because you're going to be doing that a lot more.
And you're going to have to make sure the CEO is bought in, because if he's not, he's going to roll that thing back, or she's going to roll that thing back,
Bang.
and you're not going to have it.
It'll be done.
Nope.
All right, next one, external access reviews. So one of the core ways that hackers get in is through misconfiguration of external access. So, or lack of patching, which I'll touch on later. My recommendations are, start simple. Do you have servers connected to your firewalls? Are there IPs connected to them that you can access from the internet? If so, you should be able to understand, like, do those need to be open? Should they be there? One of the best things that are one of the big things hackers like to do is pop VPN accounts. So if you've got no MFA and you do have VPN, you are at risk, and you need to be, if you've got VPN, you're at risk anyways, but that's one of those necessary risks in my opinion. So, you should be aware where are your VPNs. If you got old VPNs, you should be making sure they are decommed and no longer working, stuff like that. I recommend something like once a month, once a quarter, once every couple of weeks, once a week, depends on what your schedule can review. Automated systems that review these things are even better if you can get buy-in from them. I don't know. This one's a hard one. This one can be challenging because you've got to get your data from a lot of different sources, right? You're going to have to go to Azure. You're going to have to look at your local firewalls. You're going to have to look at your VPN configuration. You should be looking at your SaaS solutions. It's a very challenging review.
This is one of those where if you've not got a large IT department, you probably need a third party to help you.
Yeah, I agree with that. And even if you do, you may want to get a third party anyways to do all the scanning and make sure that your patches are up to date. Next one I want to touch on is monitoring DNS traffic. This one's a little harder. You're going to need to pay for this service. Yeah, a lot of these things are things that you're going to have built in, or available to you. You can do your own user training. You can do least privilege access in your Active Directory or whatever you're doing. Your backups, you're going to have to pay for that, but I feel like most people do it at this point. Your multi-factor is probably free with your identity access solution. Even if it's not great, multi-factor probably offers SMS. This is the first one that you're really going to have to shell out for, and it's DNS traffic monitoring. It's important though. It's a canary in the coal mine for attacks, because you'll see computers trying to reach out to malicious sites. You can block that traffic. I've blocked who knows how many phishing, like people who have received phishing emails and then failed their training, I guess, or their training didn't do good enough. Either way, they didn't recognize it as phishing. They clicked the link and oops, this is a phishing link, please don't freaking click on it, comes up, right? And we just saved an identity-based attack from occurring. So it's really important. It can act as a poor man's cloud security access or cloud access security broker. But, you can block. A lot of them will let you just be like, block file sharing systems, block anonymizing proxies, block adult materials. I will say it can also help keep you out of legal trouble. I have monitored DNS traffic before where I've got people looking at CASM, and we've had to, if you don't know what that is, I would say, if you're an adult, go Google it. If not, then don't go Google it and just accept that there's an acronym out there for CASM for something bad. I've had to take people I've had to go to HR and be like, yo, I found something that's, potentially problematic on our equipment. Right. And, the last thing you want is the FBI coming to your business's door asking about that type of stuff. Not good publicity. So that's a big one. I really recommend it. I think that it can, stop a lot of attacks before they start. Any thoughts on that one, guys? On that one, guys? No.
Nothing specific. No. I'm a big fan of DNS filtering, web filtering, any
it's
UTM
a great layer.
Sort of stuff like that.
Yeah. UTM standing for Unified Threat Management there.
Yep,
yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. Next one I'll say is you got to have, I really recommend some sort of endpoint detection software. This one's harder. This one also costs, and usually a lot. But having something like Defender or CrowdStrike or SentinelOne, like something on your machine watching for behaviors, makes a big difference. Traditional antivirus software is no longer good enough. A lot of malware, malicious, a lot of attacks are just happening with PowerShell scripts that are, they're just calling files and then executing those files, and those files aren't necessarily like things that people have seen before. Traditional antivirus systems just don't work anymore like they used to. And you really need a, EDR or XDR, EDR being endpoint detection remediation. XDR, I think, being extended detection and remediation. XDRs can usually do more than an EDR can. Really getting something on there that can track behavioral activities. Oh, I see a curl to download a file. Oh, that file is now enumerating all of these other files. Oh, that file is trying to alter the host file on the computer, or do other things, trying to dump NTLM hashes. Dumping an NTLM hash is not necessarily something that a traditional antivirus is going to see and be like, oh, that command ran, it's no good. You really need that next stage there to do that. And not having an XDR really leaves you open to, attack and being blind to the attacks going on. They're really the XDR can really be the difference between seeing ransomware after it's ransomwared all of your shit, or seeing ransomware as it's ransomwaring its first computer type of thing, or as they're enumerating credentials and before the ransomware actually drops. XDR can also, depending on how you tie it up, and if you run it into a system event and information, or system information event monitoring system, they can also detect things and take actions against, user accounts, computers, isolate, revoke MFA, stuff like that. So Really recommend that. Any thoughts on that, guys? Or next one?
I'd say the value you get out of any of these products for EDR or XDR, which I don't know, maybe it is a thing now. XDR for a long time was just a marketing term. It was just EDR, but we're going to charge you a little bit more. But to get value out of those, you have to be intentional about using those tools.
For sure.
Most of the time, companies are not going to staff up to the point where they can.
Yeah.
And so most of these companies, your CrowdStrikes, your Huntress, Sophos, a lot of these companies are going to have managed response teams that you can pay a little bit more per, and it is more expensive, but these teams will step in and react to these tools.
Yeah, it's usually worth your time.
If you're trying to value security, it is where you should go, unless you're willing to put the resources internally to do it, which most companies are not going to be willing to do that.
It's a lot. It's a lot to run your own managed security operations center. It's really big.
It's a whole genre of IT, and you just can't react fast enough to every threat. And it's not even react fast enough. You just can't understand how to use the tools well enough to see it. Like, if you don't know how to view the tools, how to set the alerts, how to use the software to the extent to where, because EDR, that was the whole point of it. It's like you're getting more ability to detect and respond to these things, but you have to do it yourself.
Yeah. Or
and then you'll hear a term
automation.
MDR, which is managed detection and response, and that's usually when there's a team on the back end that is helping. And it's more expensive. You pay, per license for each of those, but I highly recommend looking into it if you don't have the resources, but you need security.
Yeah, you and I are on the same wavelength there, because that's what I was going to add to it. Especially if you're not a 24/7 shop either, you need the managed solution. Because
you're gonna wake up to your entire you're gonna wake up and everything's gonna be on fire.
Yeah,
your backups are gonna be encrypted.
It's too late then. Like, I mean, these things are happening all hours, and unless you plan on staffing all hours, you might as well pay someone else to do it for you. Because
I have been woken up at 2 a.m. at 3 a.m. in the morning by my managed stock, and I have stopped things from happening that 6 hours later unchecked would have been a completely different problem.
Yep.
The kind like this turned out to be a problem that, like, it was annoying, but I didn't work a 16-hour day. And if I had woken up 4 or 5 hours later, it would have been a lot of 16-hour days.
Yeah.
Like a lot of them.
Yep,
like more than I want to count.
I recommend it. If you're not going to build your own kind of SOC, just a few of these solutions deserve the managed iterations of them, for sure.
Yep, for sure. Okay.
Last but not least,
is our favorite saying, you got to go patch yo shit. If you are not patching yo shit, then you're taking it on the chin. I got a good relevant example that I didn't throw in the show notes for this.
Okay.
So ConnectWise recently got hacked. They had a nation state actor come in and lay hands on a few of their clients, small subset. It was specifically, they did it by exploiting a it has something to do with the view page. There was a patch like that was like for the code within the view page that had been patched in April. That I guess wasn't patched. The newest version of the Screen Connect server now has that feature totally disabled. And I guess in this case they weren't patched, or the patch wasn't available yet. And the threat actors got in and were able to wreak some havoc. There's still, still emerging details type of thing. I mean, it's like, look, when these vulnerabilities get released, sometimes there are known exploits, sometimes there aren't, right? But sometimes they come out. There's already known exploits. CISA, for as long as it's around, will continue, I believe, to give us like lists of known exploits. And if something makes it on that list of known exploits, it means somebody's trolling around making people's lives bad with that specifically. And they can't make your life bad if you don't give them a way in. You know, if you don't, like, I mean, it's the equivalent to, like, you know, leaving a window broken or in such a way that your car door can be jimmied or, you know, something like that. Like like if you're not patching, you really should be thinking about patching. If you're just starting your security program, what should you do with that? This is actually a hard task. One is you got to get out there and set some expectations that patching needs to be done every month and start working on getting political buy-in from your leadership on that.
And the goal is automated patching.
Yeah, for sure. No manuals.
Not any sort of like optional at all. It's going to happen.
Just do it, and it alerts that it's going to do it, and everybody knows it's going to happen sooner or later. 2 is that you should really start working on asset inventory. I know at my job, this was really challenging. We have a pretty transient asset base where, you know, we are adding and removing as many as 200 machines like a month. And, you know, so I had to come up with some systems to like look at all other systems and make educated guesses about which assets are alive in the environment. If you're not tracking what assets are out there, then you have no idea how patched you are. you don't know how, like, you don't know your security tool coverage. You don't know how patched you are. Like, you gotta, like, you really should work towards doing that. I also should say, as you're patching, make sure that you're patching with test rings. We had a situation recently where the Microsoft April hot patch, not the full patch, but the hot patch, black screened a couple of my coworkers. And because we were able to, like, literally only impact 2 instead of, you know, like 10,000 people. And we stopped it. We prevented what looked like it could have been an utter disaster from occurring, and we were able to recover them. So start working on, if you're not patching today, you're not sure about it, start getting leadership buy-in, start working on monthly patching, start trying to understand what your asset inventory looks like any way that you can. Even if you have a shitty asset inventory, it's better than no asset inventory. And you know, try to figure out how you're gonna get some test rings out there and make sure that you, like, aren't gonna nuke the full company, because if you nuke the full company, you're gonna lose your job. So well, maybe not, maybe you got a cool boss, but, you know, I would be afraid of losing my job.
Just don't do it twice.
Yeah, I guess that's the real thing. I don't think I'd lose my job the first time, but the second or third time might be a different story. That's really it, guys. Just kind of running through it again. It's test your backups, work your user training, you know, make sure that there's some other condition than just the username and password to get in. You know, a lot of different ways to apply that. When you're giving out permissions, give the fewest possible out. Definitely that means no local admins as much as possible. Make sure you're checking on your VPNs, web servers, and that you don't have random ports open. I've seen hacks happen that way too. You know, I've known people that left SSH open and some of their production shit got hacked. Like it 100% happens. Monitor DNS traffic if you can. Splurge on some XDR, EDR, endpoint detection and remediation stuff so you can catch people in real time, not after the work is done or after the damage is done. And patch yo shit carefully and with buy-in. All right. I think that about wraps it up. I have about 1,000 other recommendations to make, but we'll just have to do them another time. I guess we'll do it. So you have a patching so you have a security program and you want to suck less instead at some point in time in the future or something like that.
Yeah, we'll have to dedicate an episode to a couple of these for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. Absolutely. Because I've got, you know, days and days of recommendations that you can make. If you're not sure what to do, I can help you figure out what to do next. If you're watching this, you're not sure what to do, reach out to me. I'm happy to, like, consult you on whatever issue. You know, I'm down for the cause. So
Discord is the place to go.
Yep, holler at a Discord.
Hop in.
$332 per hour. Consulting fees.
No, I'll give them a discount because they own the Discord first.
312.
Yeah, more like.
First piece of advice is free, but anything after that.
Yeah, no, I work on the drug dealer terminology. First, it's always free, baby. Come on in. I'll help you get that MFA set up, but you want to talk about that least privilege access is going to cost. All right. All right, folks. Well, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Thank you for watching our video, you know, sticking around, listening to me rant about security stuff. I love it. So, Yeah. Peace, homies. Thanks
Yep.
for dropping by.
Thanks, everybody. See you guys and gals on the 16th. I
Yeah.
do believe, right? Yep. Yes. If I can count. I had to look at it, but yes. I do
Yeah,
believe that's
16th
correct.
is correct.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Man, look at that.
Bye.
Epic beard. Bye.
Tune in tight to the digital roar. Brent's got tech, he's laying the lore. From circuits and chips to the cyber core. Plug in and we'll give you more. Matt's on the edge, watch those pixels fall. He cracks the code, solves it all. Dark web secrets, firewalls tall. In the cyber jungle, he's the call. Digital ascent, we're climbing high. Voices in the ether touch the sky. With tech and games and culture bright. Come along with us. Ignite the night. Sean's got the joystick. He's ruling the zone. Gaming world's his digital crone. From pixels to planets, he's never alone. In the realms we conquer, the seeds are sown. Jordan's gaming flair, he's got the beats. Pixel quests and high score feats. Pop culture vibes with endless repeats. In our podcast, he's on the streets. Digital ascent, we're climbing high. Voices in the ether touch the sky. With tech and games and culture bright. Come along with us. Ignite the night. Brandon's in play with a pixel blade drawn. Quests and controllers from dusk till dawn. XP stacking, the leaderboard's gone. In gaming's heartbeat, he's the spawn. Digital ascent, we're climbing high. Voices in the ether touch the sky. With tech and games and culture bright. Come along with us. Ignite the night. Tune in tight to the digital roar. Brent's got tech, he's laying the lore. From circuits and chips to the cyber core. Plug in and we'll give you more. Matt's on the edge, watch those pixels fall. He cracks the code, solves it all. Dark web secrets, firewalls tall. In the cyber jungle, he's the call. Digital ascent, we're climbing high. Voices in the ether touch the sky. With tech and games and culture bright. Come along with us. Ignite the night. Sean's got the joystick. He's ruling the zone. Gaming world's his digital crone. From pixels to planets, he's never alone. In the realms we conquer, the seeds are sown. Jordan's gaming flair, he's got the beats. Pixel quests and high score feats. Pop culture vibes with endless repeats. In our podcast, he's on the streets. Digital ascent, we're climbing high. Voices in the ether sky. With tech and games and culture bright, come along with us, ignite the night. Brandon's in play with a pixel blade drawn, quests and controllers from dusk till dawn, XP stacking, the leaderboard's gone, in gaming's heartbeat, he's the spawn. Digital ascent, we're